Bear, the threat of a second cyclone and flooding rains for the far north. The true extent of our crime crisis laid bare, the shocking figures revealed. Good news for families. Inflation hits a 2-year low and there's a new push to bring down grocery prices. Petrol prices, though, surge as much as 50 cents a litre as we prepare to head back to work and school. Stake a claim on The Crown, the hit series auctioning off its royal replicas. And a change at the top, Steve Smith will open the batting for Australia.
Live from Brisbane, 7 News with Katrina Blowers.
Good evening. Well, less than a month after Cyclone Jasper devastated parts of far north Queensland, the region is bracing for yet another weather threat. A monsoon trough is expected to bring heavy rain to the already saturated region, while another cyclone is developing in the Gulf of Carpentaria.
A flood-ravaged far north bearing the scars of a cyclone. Trees uprooted, debris cutting off roads after Jasper unleashed its worst. The clean-up has barely begun, but the long road to recovery is already at risk of being derailed.
We certainly hope for the best, but plan for the worst.
Which could be another cyclone.
A low chance of a tropical cyclone developing in the Gulf of Carpentaria.
At the moment, there's a 15% chance of it forming by early next week. And if it does, it's likely to impact the Gulf country and parts of the Cape York Peninsula.
Most of North Queensland will get a pretty hearty dose of rain over the next few days.
The cyclone threat intensifying around this monsoon trough, stretching across the country's north and increasing the risk of flooding.
We're hoping as much as possible that that's not going to be the case.
Just as businesses begin to welcome tourists back, with a campaign launched just last week offering discounted airfares and accommodation already paying off.
70% of those discounted airfares have been sold.
We lost our Christmas trading peak season. That's gone.
Today, another $24 million to keep businesses in operation.
We, of course, are supporting the clean-up program, the reopening of roads and infrastructure so that people can enjoy everything that this wonderful region has to offer.
The reef is ready and the rainforest is open.
Now just hoping it stays that way. Georgia Holland, 7 News.
Now to Tony Auden. And Tony, which areas will feel the biggest impacts?
Well, Katrina, it's only a low chance of a cyclone in the Gulf for now, but we are likely to see a lot of rain over a large area. Here are the forecast rain totals through the course of the next week, with several hundred millimetres likely across the Northern Territory, the Gulf of Carpentaria, Cape York Peninsula as well. It's not welcome news, but we'll likely see at least a few shorter bursts of heavy rain around Cairns and the North Tropical Coast, and further flooding is a chance there. Now, the flooding risk will depend on whether a low gets going in the Gulf, and we will need to narrow down the details pretty much on a day-by-day basis. Katrina, I'll be back soon with the forecast.
Thanks, Tony. Shocking new figures have revealed the true extent of the state's crime crisis. Break-ins, robberies and assaults are all up, while the Premier is doubling down.
They're the sights and sounds Queenslanders have sadly become accustomed to.
I feel for our officers. They are having to confront these things every single day. We know that we've seen an increase in our crime.
Now new Queensland police data shows by just how much. Around 50,000 offences were committed every month last year, a total of more than 600,000, up from 562,000 in 2022. Unlawful entry, robbery and unlawful use of a motor vehicle offence rates all increased.
We've seen the increase in population. Shop steal is up 33% this year. That's significant. If the community are feeling unsafe in their home, we've got more work to do.
The number of assaults rose too. Despite the rising crime rates, the Premier doubled down.
It's not clearly worsening. There have been changes in the way those statistics are collected to include domestic violence offences that weren't included in the past.
The fact that the government would somehow try to say that these figures don't reflect what Queenslanders are living shows you that this government won't be able to fix the problem.
The figures are a blow to the government in an election year where this will be a key issue for voters. Labor and the LNP will likely target their campaigns centred around a tough-on-crime approach.
I commit to all of these places that numbers will go down.
We'll go to the election and we will have evidence to show what we're doing. It is a complex issue.
With no one solution.
And Sally Guy joins me in studio, and Sally, health too is going to be a big issue in the lead up to the election.
Yeah, Katrina, easing the pressure on emergency departments